Where do you want me to be stationed?
I was thinking, probably
Yeah.
college or
Uh-huh. Yeah, it's on the left.
I just got everything set up. Don't need to do it.
Okay.
Wherever you'd like to be.
Okay.
It's kind of cool, though. That's college, you know, subscription thing.
Yeah. You want me to be in the back for you?
Sure,
Okay.
if you'd like. The photograph is downstairs.
Okay.
Right at the bottom.
Got it.
It's better when it's titled.
Well, we have I'll sing a line, you sing along. You can do it. You can do it. So far down on the street. So far down on the street. So far down on the street. Got slippers on my feet. Got slippers on my feet. Got a hat on my head. Got a hat on my head. It's no day going back to bed. It's no day going back to bed. It's snowing. It's snowing. 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 It's snowing for me. It's snowing for you. It's snowing for me. It's snowing for you. And all of the animals. And all of the animals. It's snowing for them too. It's snowing for them too. Many more verses, but maybe you should. And so, yeah, that's you know, the other one about it being pretty, one on the city. There's one that snow is in, down from the sky. Snow is in, down from the sky. Snow is falling, I don't know why. Snow is falling, I don't know why. January is not so blind. January is not so blind. It's snowing, it's snowing, snowing, it's snowing for me, snowing for you, and all of the animals. It's snowing for them too. Snow is falling down, snow is falling, it's so pretty. Snow is falling, it's so pretty. It makes a blanket upon the city. It makes a blanket upon the city. To stay inside would be a pity. To stay inside would be a pity. So let's go outside, let's go sled and drink hot chocolate marshmallows. So let's go outside, let's go sled. It's snowing, snowing, snowing for me, snowing for you, and all of the animals. It's snowing for them too. All right, and then I have, are we going to do these other cities? You don't know walking into Winter Wonderland? Well, there's an important. Oh, we're already there. Yeah. All right. And I was thinking, in the meadow, we can build, it should be a snowman. Instead of a snowman, we should build a snowman. A snowman. Okay. And then, yeah. All right, snowman. But maybe we should get a little simple song. Baby happy, baby happy, baby peaceful, baby peaceful, baby dead. Baby Recognize these words. So, do you know where these words came from, or do you know? The words we were just singing.
Oh, they can have your mouth.
I can't, that is, oh, that's where you're saying Copyright is around 20 seconds ago. All right, let's try it. May we be happy. May we be peaceful. May we be peaceful. May we be filled with love. May we be filled with love. May us be happy. May us be peaceful. May us be filled with love. May children be happy. May children be peaceful. May we be filled with love. All right, you're going to get it. Oh, yeah. Under that Bodhi tree, there's old Buddha, mind as quiet as it can be. It can be, sitting like a wise old frog, sitting like a log, sitting with a smile on his face, sitting like empty space. Doesn't mind thunder. What could bother old Buddha, I wonder? He was bothered by siblings. He was at those siblings. Just hold on by. Mother always siblings. He was bothered by siblings. He was at those siblings. Just hold on by. All right, what else? Archer, what do you think? What else? There's old Buddha sitting under that Bodhi tree. There's old Buddha, mind as quiet as it can be. Sitting like a wise old frog, sitting like a bump on a log, sitting with a smile on his face, sitting like empty space. Doesn't rain, doesn't mind thunder. What could bother old Buddha, I wonder? He was like my life. All right.
Oh, in the basement, you said? Oh.
Asking families to stay in the middle. Let's go together. And we'll go together, okay?
Hey, welcome everyone to our December family service. I should say celebration for the entire summer. We have some special things on store for you today. But first, let's stand up and we'll do 3 prostrations. And if you have been here before or just new and don't know how to do prostrations, we have some experts here who will demonstrate. And if you feel like it's not available to do a full prostration, then you can just simply make it up as we do them. So we're doing 3. So you guys up here in the middle, help me to show everyone how to do this. Okay? So we make bow. Look up, look up. Go down.
Hand down the floor and hold it up to the sky.
Okay, before we sit down, I'm going to ask Brandon to come up. Leon, could you come up and light our peace candle for us? This is to respect. This is to acknowledge the suffering that's going on in the world. Acknowledge the suffering that's going on in the world and to offer our spirit of compassion to that suffering. Okay, so now in our service, we are going to sit for 5 minutes quietly. And for those of you adults who come without kids and are going to stay after, you will have more time for meditation. But for right now, as the song goes, we're all going to sit quietly together. Hands in Hapchang with sincere heart. Offer our sincere heart to our meditation practice. For those of you who stay very quiet, maybe extra cookies. No. Let's meditate. Okay, let's listen to our breath. Next time you hear the bell, it'll be the end of our meditation. You don't have to be quite as quiet. Listen to the sound of the bell all the way to the very end. Breathing is in harmony with the bell. And then when we stop hearing the bell, we put our hands down in our laps. Very peaceful and calm. Okay, now spin our hands in the tongue again. Sincere heart and make a bow. Okie dokie. So now we're going to stand up again and we're going to together do the 3 refuges. So now is your opportunity to use your voice. Okay? So I'd like you to repeat after me. Buddha, the awakened one.
Buddha, the awakened one.
And the awakened heart in us all.
And the awakened heart in us all.
And the living force of peace.
And the living force of peace.
May I take refuge in the Buddha.
May I take refuge in the Buddha.
Dharma, the teachings of the Buddha.
Dharma, the teachings of the Buddha.
Moral discipline and wisdom.
Moral discipline and wisdom.
May I take refuge
May I take refuge in the dark.
Sangha,
Sangha,
the happy and joyous community of all living beings.
the happy and joyous community of all living beings.
May I take refuge in the Sangha.
May I take refuge in the Sangha.
So it feels very lonely up here. Can I ask people to move a little bit closer to hear the story today? No? So lonely. Okay, can everyone hear?
Yes.
Okay. Wonderful and marvelous. Well, it's the holiday season, and I have a holiday story for you today. I know a lot of us are grumpy about the holidays. It's not a time to be grumpy. This is a story of two women, Midge and Mary. Midge and Mary lived with two mice. The two mice, Chance and Clancy. Now, Chance and Clancy, because it's winter, had this big coat. They have a big fur coat. And they just love living with Midge and Mary. So do you know where they live? They live in Michigan. They live in Beaver Island, Michigan. Yeah. Oh, it's so beautiful up there, but it's cold in the winter. Cold, cold, cold. Mary runs this place called the Toy Museum. So it's not like a toy shop that we know at all, where there are big expensive toys. All the toys that Mary sells are tiny little toys that like go for like 25 cents or 50 cents, like crazy lips and costumes and little airplanes and things. She just has bins and bins with them. So kids come from far and wide during the summer months to go to Mary's Toy Museum and buy a few little toys. But it doesn't bring in a lot of money. And so the problem for Midge and Mary is they're living on not a lot of money, and they're so happy. They're happy with their little house. They're happy with Beaver Island. They're happy with their neighbors, their community. They're happy with Chance and Clancy. The whole thing is good. Here's the problem. The problem is when winter came, they didn't have any more to eat. Yeah. They looked in their little bin, and all they had was a handful of rice and nothing else. Imagine nothing else in your kitchen but a handful of rice. So they gratefully cooked the rice, and they were about to eat. And who comes out but Chance and Clancy? Hungry, 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 I'm so hungry. And so Midge says to Mary, we have to give them some rice too. They're our friends. So they give Chance and Clancy a little bit of rice, about 4 grains each, and everyone was happy. But everyone kind of knew that it was going to be rough after that, because that was it. That's all they had. So Midge and Mary talked. So Midge had a superpower. You know what a superpower is?
Yeah.
All right. So Midge's superpower is that she knew how to knit. And she knit beautiful socks, gloves, hats, scarves, all the things that people needed for winter. So cozy, so nice. But they had no yarn. What were they going to do? How could they knit? Chance and Clancy knew that it was their moment. So they went to the recycling center. They went to the garbage place. They went to the back of the grocery store. And they brought all kinds of things like
string, yarn of all different colors, pieced it all together, and put it in the living room. And Midge was so happy because she could use her superpower. So she knitted and knitted and knitted and knitted. She knitted 7 hats. Beautiful. Much more beautiful than this, but kind of like this. And so they were like, where can we sell these hats? And that will give us the money we need to buy some rice and other things. Oh, how about going to the Ann Arbor Holiday Crafts Fair? So Midge was like, I'm driving down to the crafts fair. So she drove her hats down to the crafts fair. They had a whole table for all 7 hats. Beautiful hats, really nice. And she set them there. And then she knew, just by coincidence, the temple was holding its all-night enlightenment sitting that very night. So Midge goes to the temple, and she sits, and she sits, and she sits, and she walks, and she sits. And she just felt this glow. You know, most of us would be like, I don't have a lot to eat. Oh my God, what if these hats don't sell? What's going to happen to me? Midge was very peaceful because she had that peace of mind that things were going to work out somehow. And so she sits and she just feels this glow. Have you ever had that when you sit in meditation? Just this kind of glow. And she looked outside the window right in this very room and she saw the star like beautifully bursting away in color. And she was just so happy. And so she was leaving to go back to the crafts fair after it was over. And Mom said, can I give you something to eat, Midge? And Midge was like, no, I have to get back to Mary on Beaver Island. I cannot stay, Mom. And Mom was like, well, please take some temple tofu, some rice, and some greens with you. Midge was like, thank you, Mom. I will. And so she had her little satchel of temple tofu, rice, and beans. We all like that. Well, beans, but also some greens. She packs them away in her little Volvo, and she's off to the crafts fair. And she comes in thinking, who has appreciated my hats? They're so beautiful. Not one had sold. Not one. You know why? Because people like hats with the name North Face. They like hats with the name Patagonia. They like, these were just little handmade hats. And she was sad, but you know what? She knew there would be a good purpose for these hats. So she got in her Volvo with the hats, with the satchel of rice and temple tofu, and she headed back to Beaver Island. And that's when it hit. Huge snowstorm, blizzard beyond belief. Midge says, I gotta get back. I gotta get back. I gotta get back. So she's driving along in whiteout conditions. And she sees a gas station. She fills up her car and she goes inside thinking, after I've enlightened sitting, I'm kind of tired. I'm getting one of those Monster energy drinks and I'm gonna, well, she gets into the gas station. She's just about to reach in for a Monster. What happened? Poof, the lights went out. The power went out. There's no one in the gas station. She's the only one there. No one working there. And she hears a voice. Hey, Midge. Mr. Dugan. Mr. Dugan had arrived. Oh no! But you know, Midge was enough of a meditator. And she knew Mr. Dugan. She's like, how you doing, Mr. Dugan? He's like, Midge, well, it's good to see you. I wish you well. Midge is like, I'm going out to my car right now. So he says, okay. She goes out the door. Of course, it's all black because the power's out. And she can't see her car. It's white out. And Mr. Duca's like, oh, it's over there. I'll help you. So she's following Mr. Duca. And then suddenly she realized Mr. Duca's not taking her to her car. She's lost in the whiteout. So she's like, enough. Enough, Mr. Duca. Goodbye. She calms herself. She begins to see her meditation light growing. And you know what she sees in the distance? Crazy. She sees a little fire in the snow. Oh, and next to the fire, what was there? Can you tell me? No. No, not at all. Next to the fire was this stone figure, just like that. Chichon Posal, next to this fire. And
Mitch goes up and she's so grateful because it creates light so she can see her car. And oh my gosh, what's next to it is a little cup of tea. So she couldn't get her Monster Energy drink, but she had a caffeinated tea. That was a good thing. And she saw that Jijong Hosal was getting snow on his head like crazy. So she wiped the snow off and put the hat on, one of her hats on Jijong Hosal. She made bow. She's like, thank you, Jijong Hosal. Thank you so much. She gets in her car and she's driving along north and she gets up past Lansing and she's just, it's still blizzard conditions. And she's like, how is my little Volvo ever going to make it? How am I ever going to make it? Because she was getting tired. So she decided to turn on the radio. And what's on the radio? Christmas carols. Oh my gosh. You know, and some of them are so good. Like she was listening to one and singing along like, I'll be home for Christmas, and you can count on me. And she's getting into it. And then the next song, you know how some of them are just kind of earworms? They're sweet. You know what an earworm is? Does everyone know? What's an earworm? What is an earworm? Gets in your head and you can't get it out. Oh, and then she just heard like Holly Jolly Christmas and she's like, oh, earworm. And then she heard like, oh, Santa baby. Oh. And then she heard the biggest earworm of them all. No. But she liked it, you know? We all kind of like the earworms. And so she's tapping on her thing. She's like, I don't need much for Christmas. There's just one thing I need. Don't need about the presents underneath the Christmas tree. I just want you for my own, more than you can ever know. Make my dreams come true. Baby, all I want for Christmas is you. Baby. Yeah, you're singing along. It's an earworm. So she's singing along, she's tapping the steering wheel as she's driving, and suddenly she got so excited that she went into a ditch. She just went boom and spin around. And you know how it is? It's like slow-mo. And you're then suddenly like, boom. She hit a snowbank, and she's just like, okay, here I am. What do I do now? So she takes a deep breath. She gets out of her car, looks at the problem. Well, that's not good. So in the distance, what does she see? Well, no, it's Jijong. Jijong Hosal's next to it, a bodhisattva. And she has another cup of tea. It's really good because it's super caffeinated. And Jijong again is bald. He's got snow like a foot high. And she wipes it off and gives him a hat. And then she continues on. And this pattern continues on and on and on. And oh, she's like gets past Clare, Michigan. She's on her way to Beaver Island and she has to catch that ferry in Charlevoix. Will she make it? I don't know. So she's driving as fast as she can. And again, she twists around and gets caught. And there's another fire. And suddenly she realizes that the bodhisattvas are all around us and helping us. And Jijong Hosal, that's what he's there for. He's there to help us when we are in trouble. And she sees again and again another Jijong Hosal figure, and she wipes his head so carefully and gives it a little cap so it's nice and warm. And then she does it again, but this time she's really close to missing that ferry to Beaver Island from Charlevoix. So she's driving like crazy. She sees the ferry. She's going through Charlevoix, which is a very nice little town, and she's just going through with her little Volvo. She reaches the ferry station just as the doors close. Oh, what's she gonna do now? She needed to get back to Mary. She was worried about Chance. She was worried. Oh, all of them, just really worried. And so she's really sad at this point. She'd given out all of her 7 caps to Jijong figures. And then she sees this woman. This woman says, Mitch, I want you to trust me. If you go to the drawbridge here when the ferry passes under, you can run and you will land on the floor. Just jump off. And then she's like, are you asking me to jump into Lake Michigan? I don't think so. And the woman's like, Midge, if you do it when I tell you to, you can do it. And she looks at the woman like, who are you? And the woman was glowing a little bit. And she went over to the bank of Lake Michigan. And the ferry was coming, and she looked back. And she saw 1,000 hands and 1,000 eyes. And oh my gosh, it was Kwanzaa who told her. So then she felt okay. She's like, I can do this. She takes a running leap, and Kwanzaa says, no! And she leaps, and she lands right on the boat. She didn't land in Lake Michigan. She landed in the boat. So she's just so, oh my God, can you imagine how stressful that would be to take a flying leap at night into Lake Michigan and land on that boat? Woo! Oh, so anyway, she's on the boat, made it to the ferry. She's heading back to Beaver Island. It's quite a little 2-hour trip on that ferry. And there's only one other person on the ferry with her. And it's this bald man with like brown jacket on. And she's like, well, whatever. So she just falls asleep. And she wakes up. And what's next to her is a glass of cocoa. And a little pastry from the vending machine. And isn't that nice? Someone did that for her, and it had to be the man with the bald head with the brown robes. She was so grateful. So she had a little something in her stomach, and amazingly, she still had the satchel from the temple with the tofu and the greens and the rice. And so she gets to Beaver Island, and she only has she has no hats left to give away. So she gets there, but she sees the light in the distance, but it's still snowing so hard. I don't know how she gets there because there's no taxi service in Beaver Island. So she's walking and walking and walking and walking and walking. And finally, she's just about to give up. She's like, I'm so tired, so tired, so tired. And what does she see? Another bonfire, which really helps her. She can go warm her hands and be okay. But she had no more hats. What was she going to do? Because this John had like 5 feet of snow on its head. Well, you know what she gave it? Her own scarf. She had one scarf that she was wearing. And she gave the Jijong figure her scarf. Because she knew that Jijong needed to be warm. And that helped her to get to her house. And finally, she gets to her little house. And Mary's there, and Chance and Clancy are like in the corner doing their thing, and the fire's in the fireplace, and it's just so warm. And she said, Mary, I didn't sell any of the hats. I'm so sorry. Nobody wanted to buy them. It was just really sad. But I gave them to the Jijong Hosal figures because they had bald heads and they looked really cool. Mary's like, that was the right thing to do, Midge. You went from your heart. I think that was beautiful because obviously the Jijongs help you. So anyway, they go to bed. They have their temple tofu first. They go to bed, wake up the next morning, and there's like, oh my God, 15 feet of snow. It was just so snowy. But they saw these footprints in the snow to their doorstep. Someone had shoveled the snow. And in those footprints, they saw on their stoop a big bag of rice, a big bag of tofu, lots of greens, and they knew they were set for winter. But whose footsteps were they? Who did it? Yeah, I think so too. It never says it in the story, but I'm pretty sure it was Jijong Hosal. Maybe Haji wrote shotgun. Who knows? So anyway, that is our story. It's a really good holiday story because you know the holidays. Well, one of the things that we learn from this story that's so important is that giving is never a bad thing. You know, it would have been easy for Midge to say, I'm keeping these hats because I want to sell them somewhere. But instead, she gave them to Jijong Hosal. So it's really good to always know that giving is a good thing. And it makes us feel better too. That's lesson number 1. Lesson number 2 is so important, you guys, and that is there is magic in this world. There are bodhisattvas everywhere who are just waiting to help us. And we just have to open ourselves and see the bodhisattvas and recognize Mr. Dukkha when he's there, but know those bodhisattvas and know that they provide magic. And that magic's a wonderful thing. And we have that in our lives. And that's what this time of year brings up, with all the lights, with all the cookies, all the hot chocolate, all the festivities with families around, or maybe our friends instead. Maybe we're here and we're willing to come to the temple and see people here. There's always options, and there's always bodhisattvas everywhere. So that's our little story for today. Thank you for your attention. And only one of you fell asleep. And he's faking it, I know. I see him smiling. He's faking it. All right. So, speaking of which, someone was going to come visit. Who is it? You think so? All right. You knew it. Oh my God, it's Gino! That's because you see him everywhere. Hello, Gino. Gino has a bag, I think, of some. Well, I think, well, we're gonna rip from here. And, he has, you know what this is? This is his staff. See, the one up there has a staff too.
Yeah.
What else is different about it? This one has a, well, and one has a bunny. All right, so if I can have some volunteers to hand out some lyrics, we're going to sing some songs. So, I think we might. So I need some volunteers. Can you help? All right, pass these out. People are going to have to share. Ro, you want to pass this one out? Okay. All right, one to everyone. And then a female, yours is different. So, all right, so I'd like our choir people who know these songs well, come on up here. Actually, maybe our committee. Let's come on up. No, you know what happened. Yeah, you can be very from back here. I can hear Right, come on up and sing, you guys. Shall we sing? All right, how we doing on passing them out? Maybe over there. Okay, so let's sing, okay? Our first song is Jijong Bell. Okay, so Ram, lead us off. Keep through the show, and the rainbows of gray, through the realms
he goes, chanting all the way. Step with that 6 strings, wishing jewels so bright. What fun it is to meditate and wake right up to die. Oh, T-drum bells, T-drum all the way. Oh, what fun it is to live a bodhisattva way. Hey, T-drum bells, T-drum all the way. Oh, what fun it is to live a bodhisattva way. Hey, dashing through samsara, with all that's so bright, protecting every need, whether day or night. If you are in trouble, he will always care. He'll help you on the go and vanish in the air. Oh, T-drum bells, T-drum all the way. Oh, what fun it is to live bodhisattva way. Hey, T-drum bells, T-drum all the way. Oh, what fun it is to live bodhisattva way.
All right, next song. Are you ready for the next song?
Yeah.
All right, the 12 Days of Zen. Does anyone know? What do you think? We didn't make that one. Okay. All right. All right. Does everyone have a neighbor? Please do that one. Okay.
On the first day of Zen, my true love gave to me the Buddha sitting under Bodhi tree. On the second day of Zen, my true love gave to me 2 glowing candles and the Buddha sitting under Bodhi tree. On the third day of Zen, my true love gave to me 3 precious jewels, 2 glowing candles, and the Buddha sitting under Bodhi tree. On the fourth day of Zen, my true love gave to me 4 noble truths, 3 precious jewels, 2 glowing candles, and the Buddha sitting under Bodhi tree. On the 6th day of Zen, my true love gave to me 5 golden Buddhas, 4 noble truths, 3 precious jewels, 2 glowing candles, and the Buddha sitting under Bodhi tree. On the 6th day of Zen, my true love gave to me 6 paramitas, 5 golden Buddhas, 4 noble truths, 3 precious jewels, 2 glowing candles, and the Buddha sitting under Bodhi tree. On the 7th day of Zen, my true love gave to me 7 lotus blooming, 6 paramitas, 5 golden Buddhas, 4 noble truths, 3 precious jewels, 2 glowing candles, and the Buddha sitting under Bodhi tree. On the 8th day of Zen, my true love gave to me 8 precepts bowing, 7 lotus blooming, 6 paramitas, 5 golden Buddhas, 4 noble truths, 3 precious jewels, 2 glowing candles, and the Buddha sitting under Bodhi tree. On the 9th day of Zen, my true love gave to me 9 bells are ringing, 8 precepts bowing, 7 lotus blooming, 6 paramitas, 5 golden Buddhas, 4 noble truths, 3 precious jewels, 2 glowing candles, and the Buddha sitting under Bodhi tree. On the 10th day of Zen, my true love gave to me 10 teachers chanting, 9 bells are ringing, 8 precepts bowing, 7 lotus blooming, 6 paramitas, 5 golden Buddhas, 4 noble truths, 3 precious jewels, 2 glowing candles, and the Buddha sitting under Bodhi tree. On the 11th day of Zen, my true love gave to me 11 tofu sizzling, 10 teachers chanting, 9 bells are ringing, 8 precepts bowing, 7 lotus blooming, 6 paramitas, 5 golden Buddhas, 4 noble truths, 3 precious jewels, 2
snow month instead of snow man. All right, are we ready?
Are you listening? In the lane, snow is glistening. A beautiful sight, we're happy tonight, walking in a winter wonderland. Gone away is the bluebird, here to stay is a new bird. He sings a little song as we go along, walking in a winter wonderland. In the meadow we can build a snowman, then pretend that she is Audrey Sim. She'll say, are you married? We'll say, no, ma'am. But you can do the job when you're in town. Later on, we'll conspire as we dream by the fire to make unafraid the plans that we made, walking in a winter wonderland. In the meadow we can build a snowman and pretend that she is Audrey Sim. She'll say, are you married? We'll say, no, ma'am. But you can do the job when you're in town. When it snows, ain't it thrilling? Though your nose gets a chillin', we'll frolic and play the Zen Buddhist way, walking in a winter wonderland. Walking in a winter wonderland.
Okay.
Gino, what have you got in your bag that just appeared?
I don't know if that's you.
Oh my gosh. What do you think it is? Coal, mice? This is a special book that we make every year. Jijung Wholesales put it together over at the Sonda House. And then we give it to all our people. And it's a little booklet like an advent booklet or a bad, where you can make a little promise every day to record a message in it. And for kids, and nice to do it with your parents, light a candle, sit down with your booklets. Let's see what one of them says. On some day, listen to this. On some day, you will make 15 dates in this book. Your gift number 8. In this moment, be extra nice to someone at school or work. And then you write down what you might have been extra nice. And the next day, gift number 9. In this moment, reflect on what love means to you. Let's look near the back. Gift number 15. That's the last one. In this moment, sit very quietly and listen. Write down 3 things you hear. This is a really special booklet for each of you kids at heart. That means everyone. But first for our children and teens who would like to work with it, with their family. And then whatever's left over for adults to work with too. And I'll talk with you a little bit more, adults, what that means once the family folks have gone off to their hot chocolate, cookies, fire in the backyard.
So if I could ask the caretakers, parents to grab one so that, you know, the kids are gonna be dealing with hot chocolate and cookies at some point. So maybe you can keep it, or if kids feel like they can keep it with them, then they can take it, but I'm thinking it's probably better for parents.
And this is another version on it of Jijung Wholesale. So you can make it an art in form.
Yeah.
Maybe make a little fire beside. And according to the wonderful story that.
So before we go out, we're gonna chant Namu, we're gonna chant Ma'um when we go out. So let's try to go out very quietly. And to all the adults who are here when we leave, you are welcome to join us for a fire in the backyard with some cookies and hot chocolate. So everyone is welcome. All right, so let's put our quiet voices in and chant Ma'um, okay?
Change. We're going to go back to meditation practice. Morning. We like to think, those of us who live here, that when you come on Sunday mornings, that it's kind of a pilgrimage for you. You each come from your home here, seeking perhaps. I made a pilgrimage the other day up to the Fenton area, and I went to a place of meditation, and there was on the door, a kind of said, enter here for retreat, for seclusion, for isolation, for devotion, for discipline, for abstinence. And I would add, for noble silence, for peace of mind, for being with Sangha, and for celebrating, like we have this morning, being together with our members of all ages. Yeah. So you are always on a pilgrimage when you, especially when you come, when you go anywhere, really, it's about pilgrimage. And so we have some of these booklets that have been really carefully made and started being made about 25 years ago. And so they've had many versions. And this one has a little prompt for each day. But I'm asking you maybe to get one of these, but perhaps to have your own prompt for the next holiday season coming up. Because it's a time of great celebration and also many challenges for us. And so do we want to have it be a time of devotion, of being with family, of peace of mind for us? What is it that each of us want to remember during this very usual busy time, or sometimes a lonely time? Because we can feel alone with lots of people around. But if we have some commitments, and the Dalai Lama said, when asked what was the most important thing in spiritual life, he said, routine. If we have a routine that we've established for this period of time coming up, and each day we work with it a little bit, sit down with a candle lit, it makes a difference because it kind of plants seeds in our consciousness, which bear fruit by the way we respond in our lives. So right now, we're going to sit down in meditation again. We've got about half an hour to be together all in all. And I'm going to provide a little guidance and then ask that you think what your theme for this day might be. These coming days, this holiday season through the new year. We'll be here at the temple for all the services. And you'll be in other temples and spots of pilgrimage. And how would you like it to be? And what would you be liking to do? Okay?
Okay.
All right. So please sit down now for a period of meditation. And when you sit down, a lot of times, your body is the most important part of your practice. And it's a good idea when you're sitting down, so that your knees aren't up in the air so much, is for you to lean forward and get your knees and your buttocks planted so that you have a stable triangle. And then bring your arms up, palms in, and turn them out, and gently coming down. Left fingers over the right, thumbs touching. And then comes a very invisible part of taking care of your body for meditation practice and also your mind. Inner eye in to the parts of the body which I describe. So you're looking at me right now, but what I want you, that's your outer eye. I want you to get used to looking inward with your inner eye. To your hip bones. Inner eye with the hip bones. Gently move the hip bones forward, almost imperceptibly. It's energetic. Inner eye to the sternum, the middle of the chest. Lifting it very slightly. See how it affects your spine when you do that. Inner eye to the shoulders, the top of the shoulders. And very imperceptibly release your shoulders down toward the earth. Your shoulder blades together, very imperceptibly. It's like nobody would know that you are doing this because you're really gently working with your energy. Back of the head, move it very imperceptibly backward to the wall behind you. And at the same time, bring your chin in very imperceptibly. Now, a lot of times the eyes, while being inward looking, on the outside can be looking at the tip of your nose and down about 3 feet in front of you. So you're in this present moment, here and now. Gently put the tip of your tongue on the back of your top teeth. Now, while in this posture, take a very deep breath, starting around your belly button. So you feel your breath expands your belly area, a little less so your chest, and right into your head. Hold for a moment, and then pursing your lips, release on the exhale. 3 times. So inhaling again through the nostrils, feeling the abdomen and then the chest and the head full. Oxygen and chi or prana. And then release. Slowly, really in touch with your body. It has a deeply intuitive wisdom beyond what is in your brain. So go ahead with the 3rd time yourself. Now, for this next part, you may wish to continue the breathing. That's fine. Or go to your meditation practice. Coming back to it each time the attention slips away. That's part of the process. And coming back, it might be watching your breath, counting your breath, some kind of mantra or koan. There's a lovely poem that says, those thoughts which come up are none of your business. So just go back to the practice. And then at the very end, after some practice, I'll ask you, what do you think your focus might be for this holiday time coming up till maybe mid-January? Okay, so we have 10 minutes of meditation, and we're going to do some Qigong post-hill chanting. join together with some simple mindfulness stretching exercises. Then with your fingers, as if you're doing reflexology, pressing across the top of your scalp, and especially under your occipital ridge at the back. And again, we are moving, but there's a lot of energetic work that we can do. Just very gently taking our chin out, our eyes back, and slightly stretching our spine. Being present with our hands and stretching our finger. And then coming up again energetically. It's not that we're throwing ourselves around, but we're working at a more subtle level. Eyes up and back. And folding. Leaning on the folds to just relax. And then inhale up. Exhale. Relax first to the left. Right up and to the right. And when you come up, place your fingers behind. Draw your shoulder blades together. Inhale. And exhale. Forward arms over your head. And coming up. Keeping the back straight. Twist the spine deeply to the left. Then slowly around too deeply to the right. And slowly back to center, placing the hands to the bottom of the trunk, making circles. And then changing the direction. Putting your right arm across your chest, under your arm, and the left arm. And bend simply sideways, not a little forward or a little back, but sideways. So you open your spinal vertebrae, massage the nervous system, and slowly change. And slowly placing the fingers behind elbows wide. Inhale and exhale. And again, keeping the spine straight, twisting first to the left, then to the right. Back to center. Arms up, fingers pointed, eyes up. you haven't come up with your holiday season focus yet, that's okay. The more you get concentrated and deep within yourself, the more accurate it will be for you. Jijang Posel, this Bodhisattva, has qualities which, it's an archetype figure, so it has qualities which are all of our own qualities. And there is a special invocation to Jijang Posel in this Plum Village chanting book, which I would like to read to you. Would you put your hands together and compose yourself so you can really listen deeply? Breathe with that listening. We invoke you within ourselves, Jijang Posel. We aspire to learn your way of being present where there is darkness, suffering, oppression, and despair, so we can bring light, hope, relief, and liberation to those places. We are determined not to forget about or abandon those in desperate situations. We will do our best to establish contact with those who cannot find a way out of their suffering, those whose cries for help, justice, equality, and human rights are not being heard. We know that hell can be found in many places on earth. We will do our best not to contribute to creating more hells on earth and to help transform the hells that already exist. We will practice in order to realize the qualities of perseverance and stability, so that, like the earth, we can always be supportive and faithful to those in need. So it's CHIG JANG, Jong.
Jong.
POSAL, Posel.
Posel.
Jijang Posel.
Jijang Posel.
Jijang Posel.
Jijang Posel.
A lot of times I get much more devotional when there's a candle. When I light a little bit of incense and I see the smoke come up in a special way, it feels like it makes the space a holy space for me. So we work with that. So now we've got these candles, this Buddha, flowers, this altar. We've come on pilgrimage. Let's do 2 or 3 minutes, 4 minutes of Jijang Posel chanting. It doesn't have to be a lot. You just have to throw yourself in. And sometimes you might want to just kneel in the position, or you might want to just walk a little bit. I remember doing an hour of chanting at noon every day, and I couldn't stand still, so I just walked. Please repeat after me the 4 great vows. All beings, one body.
All beings, one body.
I vow to liberate.
I vow to liberate.
Blind passions, one root.
Blind passions, one root.
I vow to terminate.
I vow to terminate.
Dharma gates, one mind.
Dharma gates, one mind.
I vow to penetrate.
I vow to penetrate.
The great way of Buddha.
The great way of Buddha.
I vow to realize.
I vow to realize.
Please take another deep breath through your whole body, activating your whole body with more oxygen, more prana. And for a moment, what comes to you as your guiding value for this holiday season? Over the years, I've learned a little skillful means called Maya for me. Sometimes I've given a lot of talks in all these decades. A lot of times I've not known what I was going to say the night before. And I've taken notes and I've done this and that. And I still don't know. And what I've found out that works for me, you can experiment. We're all the same, basically, except the way we look. Is to say, hey, Buddhas and Bodhisattvas, I do not know what to say tomorrow. Could you give me some hint? And I'm not invoking, Jijun Posel or whatever outside of myself. I'm really doing invocation within myself. Because I've learned that there's a lot in there that can be really valuable. And if I cook up something else from outside, it's not as good. And so sometimes on the steps coming down on the way over, something comes to me. Oh, that story. That's a story to tell. Or, oh, that word. That's the word I need to use. So I'd like you to explore the gift within yourself when there are issues that come up in front of you. And we've been doing a meditation, we've been chanting, we've been doing prostrations, we've been with our Sangha. The kids too, right? It's really important for a little laughter and fun. Singing. Okay?
Okay.
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 Yeah, that it means okay. You've got it. Everybody's got a superpower. Hey.
Hey.
That's the Canadian in me, I'll say A, and it means you learn Canadian too by doing A back.
Hey.
A?
Hey.
Amen. Okay. Oh, announcements, yes.
We're going to do announcements today. Of course, it's towards the end of the year, so things are winding down. And actually, I was thinking about my core value might be rest or just harmonizing with the low light through the season.
Harmonizing with the what?
Low light and rest.
Uh-huh. Oh. What a good idea. Maybe next week we'll talk a little more about that core, that value that we want and share it. Right now, I want to respect time. People have things they need to do.
Okay. Well, can I start with a question? Is today going to be just a family service day, or are we going to have together action?
We will not have together action today.
But we're all
Except for Matt
invited.
and the two of us are going to do something later in the afternoon.
Well, there's always the get together outside. Afterwards, there's going to be a fire, maybe.
Fire and hot chocolate and cookies. The offering, many people contributed to lots of cookies. And even this crazy reindeer muffin, which is the only one we had. So we figured we better not put it for the kids because everyone would want it. So it's a little time to get to know each other and also to enjoy hot chocolate and cookies.
So yeah, there was always that right afterwards. And Iljung just went over to the historical temple building, which is the yellow building, and that's where we'll have our recovery Dharma group, if you like, at noon. And we have a few things coming up this year. The Winter Sangha Day, is that going to be on this coming Saturday? No, okay, it's not. So New Year's Eve service and New Year's Day service here. And they're both in the morning. First one's 10, the next day is 11:30, so you get to sleep in. And then Winter Youngling Junction, which is the 5-day intensive retreat, and that is in Toronto.
Yeah. Can I just say that Mom's going to Chicago Temple for the 5-day retreat. If you are interested in that, I think all of you can do it. I did it without having nearly as much experience as you did the first time. You just have to have, okay, I'm going to give it a try. So there's one in Toronto, and which I will be leading, the one in Chicago, which I will be leading, and there's one in Mexico City, for those of you who have an inclination to go to our temple in Mexico City. They go out of town to some resort to have the retreat. So it's usually very special. So please consider that. They come 4 times a year. And so you can come another time if you can't make it now.
Okay, and just to wrap things up, next family service is on January 14th. If you're new here, you might not have expected a family service, but the second Sunday of every month.
And also, we would invite you, we're celebrating Haji Sinner's birthday, the next family service on the 14th, so please come.
And please come. We're going to do lots of dancing and singing.
I guess that's just about it for today then. Let's see, afterwards, we also are going to want to take these mats and cushions that are behind the front row here. These are the 2 front row ones. We'll be putting them in 2 stacks in the corner back there. And the cushions will go up there on the shelf. And hopefully I'll see you all out there.
Thank you so much. Thanks for coming, everyone. Also, if you have any information for one of the little booklets until they're finished, gone, I'll send over here.